Let's take inventory of the Florida Gator football program. Where are they at right now? Just had a tough loss against your rival, against Florida State in Tallahassee, by the way. It's only year one of the Billy Napier program, but where are they at? Let's break it down. The question coming into this game was, how much fight will they show? Because he just lost to Vanderbilt, and it'd be very, very easy for everybody in that locker room to say, you know what, man? We just lost to Vanderbilt. I don't know if this thing is for me. I might hit the portal. Whether you announce it or not, your mind is already elsewhere. And I'll tell you what, I didn't see that at all from this program. I saw a ton of fight. They went back and forth, had a chance to win it on the last drive. I mean, they gave Florida State, a ranked Florida State team, all that they could handle. So what does that tell you? The guys that are on this roster, the majority of the guys at least, they're bought in. And that's not to say there still won't be transfer portal dominoes that fall. They're probably not going to keep everybody on this roster. You would imagine in today's age of player mobility and all that, the guys that are there are, for the most part, bought in. Because otherwise, you don't play Florida State that close if they're not. So that's encouraging. It means Billy Napier has this locker room. He has this team. It's going to take some time. But the guys that are in Gainesville are believing in Billy Napier. Really quick, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, would love to have you at the party. A lot of the Florida Gator faithful have already joined us. If you haven't yet, we'd love to have you. Jump on in. The water's fine. So here's my takeaway from watching this game against Florida State. For Florida, they have a really awesome just right hook. Right? I mean, that run game can knock you out at any given point. Ran for over 200 yards. Trevor Etienne and Montrell Johnson, you would imagine, will both be back next season. Two phenomenal backs to build around. I mean, in terms of yards per carry, they were some of the best in the country. So, with that being said, phenomenal to have the right hook. It's going to win you a lot of games. To the same token, got to develop a jab. Got to develop some defense. Got to be able to dodge, because when you get in fights and you only have the right hook, the longer that fight goes, the less it favors your program. And I think that was something that we saw. Giving up 45 points, not great defensively. The run game allowed them to stay in it. AR played really well. We'll get to him in a second, but you got to have some more prongs to your program to be able to win games like this. Because you shouldn't lose running over 200 yards. Like, that's just the fact of the matter. But the longer this thing went, the more that Florida State kept pushing back, that ended up being the issue in my mind. So here's what we saw. You saw a program in their third year under Mike Norvell, and you saw a program in their first year under Billy Napier. Translation, one program is much further along in development than the other. That's okay. This is going to get there if you're Billy Napier. But the biggest, I think, reality we saw is just Florida over the year hasn't been very consistent. They're up one week, they're down the next. You play awesome against South Carolina, and that win is looking a lot better as the weeks wear on, and South Carolina takes care of business. Lose to Vanderbilt. It's been a very up and down season. That was kind of what we saw from them in this game. AR, 9 for 27. 3 touchdowns, interception, but when he was great, he was great. And when he was off, he was very off. Defensively, 45 points. Hard to win when you're in a shootout and you're giving up 45 points. Not great again on third down. 10 penalties, 91 yards. It's going to take some time, but to me, the consistency is very much linked to the culture. Now, I'm not saying the culture is just horrendous, but I think it is a work in progress. Because when you have culture, I think baked into that is discipline, it's execution, and it is bringing your best every single game, every single snap. And I think the Florida State game really is a microcosm of what we've seen from Florida this year. Because they had a chance to win it. Like I already mentioned, the last drive, Florida had a chance to go down there and tie it. Maybe they go for 2 and win the game. I don't know, but I'm just saying I think that's kind of the next step this team has to take under Billy Napier. Here's the good news. The good news for Florida is there's no yeah but when you talk about this program. Like, structurally, everything that you need to succeed in Gainesville is available to you. It's becoming a matter of, do you have NIL resources in the day and age of the transfer portal? Check. Got them. Do you have access to talent? Yeah. Arguably, the most talent-rich state in the entire country, in Florida. Okay, great. phenomenal access. You got a coach willing to go recruit, because that's a thing now. Not all coaches want to go out there on the recruiting trail and just be dogs and go and get the talent that's required to win big-time games. Yeah, Billy Napier has shown on multiple occasions that is a priority. I mean, look at the team photo for the Gators. All of the people lined up in polos in that team photo, they are resources to the recruiting department to get the right guys on campus. So there's the commitment level there. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some time. But I truly believe everything is put in place for Florida to eventually be back where they expect to be. So it's frustrating, but in year one, I think you're in a better spot than where you were a season ago with Dan Mullen. It's not to knock Dan Mullen, but Billy Napier has inherited, as a lot of coaches do in their first year, some of the issues that were in place. The depth, for example. A lot of talent on the front end. That first string, Florida's got a lot of elite players that are going to play in the NFL. However, game wears on, season wears on. Injuries are a thing. And then that kind of ends up being a little bit more of a fall off. Billy Napier's going to get that headed the right direction. Whether it's the portal, whether it's the high school level recruiting, it's going to take some time, but he's going to get that headed the right direction. I'm very curious to see what AR does. So you would imagine a guy like him with all of his physical prowess will have a chance to be drafted by an NFL team in the coming months. With that being said, my personal opinion is he could benefit from coming back to Florida. So I think the re-recruitment of AR starts now if you're Billy Napier and company. But that'll be fascinating to see what he does, because if he comes back and they're able to make some stuff shake in the transfer portal, get some extra guys in on the defensive side, maybe they retool some of the other offensive weapons on the outside as well. Ricky Pearsall is a dog, but have some other guys to go with them. I don't know. We'll see where we are this time next year, but I do think that structurally Florida is in a really encouraging place. It's year one. You're going to take your lumps. But I was very, very encouraged to see this Florida team show up and give a phenomenal fight against Florida State. You don't get credits for style. You don't get credits for want to and for playing a close game. You don't get any credit for that. Don't get it twisted. But that just shows me the guys are bought in. They're believing in Billy Napier. This has been The Hard Count. We appreciate you tuning in. Jack Terry doing the heavy lifting. This is your show. You drive the whole operation. We're the people show. Every single thing that you know and that you love about college football happens here on a daily basis. So subscribe. Come join the party. We're live on Tuesday. We're live on Thursday. 1 Central, 2 Eastern. Come jump in the live chat. We have a good time. We're going to keep the party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.